Hey, this is Chuck with Metal Wani, and I am here with the dudes from FLOTSAM and JETSAM. How's it going, guys?
It's going.
All right, cool. So, you guys have about a third of the way through your tour. How's it been going so far?
Been going good so far.
Yeah?
I mean, we started in LA on Friday the 5th, or no, Saturday the 5th.
Yeah.
And we're about 10 days in. Every show seems to be getting better and better and better, so it's
Cool.
awesome.
Awesome, man. That's great. So, the United States, we usually get like these kind of half-baked tours where Europe, you guys are out with Destruction and Nervosa, which is, a great lineup. But now in this tour, you got probably one of the best thrash tours I've seen come through, at least this area. How did you guys arrange that?
I think what happened was we were supposed to be on another tour that was on a bigger scale, and we were supposed to be the support band. And that fell through once again. So it put us in a quandary of, do we not tour in the States, or do we just, suck it up and put something together ourselves? And that's what we decided to do, because we had all the dates pretty much held already for the other tour. But when that fell through, we had the option to pull it together as a headline tour, so that's what we did.
Cool. And you got great support. I mean, Hatchet and Hellstar, that's awesome.
We've done shows with Hatchet before, so they were easy to rope in as the one band, and then Hellstar came in, and it kind of came together, and here we are.
Awesome.
Fortunately, the promoters were able to take, still interested in us coming back with a package.
Yeah.
And, so it's pretty
Cool.
cool that they still booked us no matter
Yeah.
what.
Well, I'm stoked because, I've been a fan with you guys, since Dooms, but I've never seen you guys live, so looking forward to it, man.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll get a good mix of everything tonight.
Awesome. So the new album is fantastic. Love everything about it, man. It's like full of piss and vinegar. It's just fucking raging. I'm gonna guess that like age for you guys is like just a number, but you guys have come out and put out an album.
High number.
Yeah, for me too, man. It's just a number, but you guys have come out and put out an album that is just totally kicks ass. I would say it's one of the best thrash albums this year. So how does it feel to have an album like that out here?
It's kind of weird because we're seeing that all over the place, on Facebook, over and overseas. We're seeing a lot of people are taking to the record really well. Unexpected, because 9 times out of 10, most people want to hear the old shit.
Yeah.
And now they're singing. We basically took our new stuff and started playing one song at a time, because you got to be really careful about throwing your new stuff in the set, because I call them hot dog songs sometimes because people hear new stuff and they're like, oh, fuck, it's time to go get a hot dog or get a shirt,
Right.
But we're not selling hot dogs, and they stick around for the new songs. As a matter of fact, we've incorporated 4 of the new songs in our set.
Awesome.
So
that's good, because
that to me, that's a judge of success for a record.
The entire album is badass. I'm telling you. So I think the album is killer. And I really am stoked that you guys are still cranking out really good, solid thrash metal. One tune that I really love, is the harmonies in Iron Maiden. I think that's really super cool. So who was responsible mainly for writing that thing? Because it kind of is almost like a homage to Iron Maiden in a way. The galloping riffs, that kind of.
Steve Conley, the other guitar player, is the guy who came up with the riff.
Cool.
And it just, like every other song that we do, it starts with a guitar melody, and it just kind of builds and builds. And I don't know if we really were trying to write homage to Iron Maiden or anything like that. It just kind of came out. The Fetus started out a certain way, but by the time it evolved, and he got his vocals on stuff, it turned out to sound really cool. It's
awesome.
This is definitely coming from our roots. It's from deep inside for sure.
Yeah, it's like he was saying in an interview yesterday. He was saying every time he tried to do something, it just ended up sounding like Bruce Dickinson. So at the end of the day, he's just like, well, fuck it, let's just do it. Like Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah.
And I mean, anytime you have dual guitar harmonies, it's either it's gonna remind you of either Boston or Iron Maiden.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So when I've been listening to the album, I keep thinking about one that all the song structure is great. All those tunes really sound good together. It's almost, I don't know if it was, it's like the way it was structured and put together. Each tune kind of like flows really nicely into the next tune.
We spent a lot of time on that.
Yeah, so that's what my question was going to be. Did you have to work on the balance of that, like
Yeah.
laying that out so that whole album flowed from start to
Yeah,
finish?
we did a number of pre-production, like, iTunes lists. All right, let's try this one. Let's try the songs this way, and then we set it out. And like, all right, this works first and this works fourth, but let's move these two around. And it was a lot of A and Bing before we, came up with a solid, 1 through 12 lineup.
Cool.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that you didn't have any songs that kind of sound samey, together. Because then, people not paying attention, listening to it in the background, would think, oh, that was a 15-minute song,
Yeah.
But each song is so completely different from each other, really, that it's hard to get that out of it.
But they gel well. It's like that flow of, when you go from Seventh Seal, into the next tune, it's like there's a change, a dynamic change for sure, but you can tell that they flow together really well. So that's cool. So the lyrical landscape of this album is kind of all over the place. You've got biblical references in Seventh Seal and Legions of the Damned. You've got the 17th century, German torture device in the Iron Maiden. You got some kind of, social statements in Time to Go. So what was the inspiration for lyrically writing this album?
Each one was really an entity all by itself. They would send me a song, and I'd sit and listen to it, and what does this sound like? And if I couldn't figure it out, I'd call them up, say, hey, give me a topic, something. And it was really not worked on as an entire album until we were working on the lineup. I mean, there were individuals, each one of those songs, and we were at that point just kind of hoping they ended up going together.
That's cool. So speaking of songwriting, do you guys work together as a band and jam out stuff and come up with tunes that way, or do you kind of do the riff factory where someone kicks out a riff, pass it around, work on it?
I call it last night the dirty whore, basically, that gets passed around, because we start with a guitar riff, and then it just gets, the idea gets passed around, and it evolves, blossoms into a full song by the end of it.
Yeah. Do you ever do anything with drums, starting it off? Just
not really.
No?
I mean, every once in a while, here and there, something will come out, out of a drum line or something. But most of all these songs were pretty much came up with riffs first, and then the drums came later.
Okay.
Maybe for the next record, we could base something off drums, but not necessarily for this one. It was a little bit of both sides of this, because it was the riff factory, and then they'd send stuff to me. I'm in New York. I'd come up with some drum parts, send it back, and we'd send stuff out to California, where Spencer, our bass player, is.
Yeah.
He'd send stuff back, and then eventually we'd all get together in Phoenix and hash it out in the room together.
Cool.
So we had a pre-production idea individually where we were going to go, and make sure we're all on the same page for once we get in the same room together, to then really get the song to gestate to its final form.
Yeah.
You can pass songs around all day long, but until you're right in front of each other, jamming it out, feeling it, you really don't know if it's going to work or not.
Did any of the songs on the album start one way and then end up completely different once you guys all got together?
The shitter they went.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a couple actually. Monkey Wrench started with a very different vocal line. We actually started working on that in Europe last year when we had a day off and we were just farting around one day.
Yeah.
And it started with a totally different vocal line that I actually got really attached to. And then when he changed it all and made it Monkey Wrench, I was like, oh, what happened in 1965? That was really cool and whatnot. Now it's got this Monkey Wrench thing. But Monkey Wrench is so much better than what it started as.
Right.
But that's the thing, when you demo songs, you can't really get married too much to that stuff, because if it turns out that that's not what you're going to use, then you get that idea in your head and I should have been that first thing, or whatever. But yeah, there was some of that. And we had some songs too that were great musically, but we just didn't get it together, on a lyrical level yet to get things finished. We worked on a lot of songs for this album. We worked on 18 tunes or so.
Oh wow.
To finally get down to the 12 that we put on the record.
Pared it down to you. Cool. Awesome. So this is probably more a question for Michael and AK. So Jason is if you're an air drummer, you can barely keep up with the guy. I mean, he's insane. I loved you when you were in Shadows Fall. So I got a question. did he influence your band sound or the, I guess all of your band sound, or any of the songwriting once he joined the band?
You know, for me, okay, I spent all these years playing with Kelly, and I was always, I had control, being the guitar player, I had control over what Kelly would do and the tempos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always played just a little ahead of Kelly. And then he comes in the band, different style drummer. I'm behind Jason on it, so it's different. It's refreshing to me because it's a little less work for me. If that makes sense, musicians would probably understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I get it.
A different feel, for me, a more driving feel, which is what I'm always going for. I'm always going for the energy, the speed, and more energy, more energy, and that's what he does for me when I play guitar with him. When I play guitar.
Do you find that if the pacing ever goes up when you're playing live, like as opposed to?
Yeah, I try not to do that too much. I try. I make a conscious.
Do you have to look over and go, dude, seriously, slow the fuck down?
Yeah, I make a conscious effort really to try to do that. Sometimes it doesn't work.
Oh, that's funny.
I try to go by his head bobbing. If he's banging his head, then I know we're all
Then
right.
you're in. All right, that's cool.
Yeah, it's fucking killing me in the neck, dude. I can't go that fast.
Awesome. So this is kind of like an influence question for each of you guys. What was either one song, one band, or one album that got you, that made you want to be a musician and play in a band? So Jason, we'll start with you.
Kiss Destroyer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great album.
It got me interested in being a musician. Definitely Kiss, but the song that did it was TNT from AC/DC.
Oh, yeah.
That's the one that, I used to put the headphones on and just listen to that, and the guitar, to me, just fucking crystal clear, just cool as shit,
Yeah, and it's a good, easy tune to learn when you're first starting out. Yeah, that's cool. AK?
I'm gonna have to say the first song that got me into metal, I think, was probably "Victim of Changes."
Oh, awesome.
So that I was into tons of stuff, theater, all kinds of crap, since I was 5 years old, singing stuff. But that was the first real hardcore metal I heard was "Victim of Changes" of Unleashed in the East.
Yeah, Unleashed in the East. Yeah.
I was pretty hooked after that.
Yeah, that is a great album. So let's talk a little bit about AFM. That's the label that picked you guys up. They've got a great roster of metal bands, and I'm guessing with your guys' background and just your stature, you've had probably a lot of different offers. What was it about AFM that got you guys wanting to work with them?
It's really hard to say no to a label that basically comes to you with a storyboard of what they want to do with your band over the next year or 2 years. And these guys came, this is what we want to do with you guys, and they've done everything and more.
Awesome.
And you can't say no to something like that.
And that's hard to come by nowadays too.
Well, yeah, especially in
We did have
current day and
a
age.
few offers from some labels, but they were just like, well, we'll give you this much, to record a record, and the next label will give you this much record, and AFM came up, so we'll give you this much record a record, we'll give you this much merchandise budget, we'll give you this much for marketing, we'll give and pretty much just laid out a plan, every little detail of what our questions were,
Cool.
And the other labels were like, well, we'll give you
what about
$10,000 to record a record.
I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
figure
it's
it
up
out.
to you.
Figure it out. As it goes. It's like, no.
Yeah. Do you need merch? Yeah, I don't know. Do you want us to survive?
Yeah. Do you want to have the record
Yeah.
when it comes out? That's a smart idea.
Right. So speaking of the music industry, I mean, it's obviously changed quite a bit from when, all you guys got started. If you were a kid starting off today, would you want to get in a metal band and do shows and tour?
Probably not.
No?
Yeah, it kind of depends on what you're wanting to get out of it. If you just want to play some music you love and go out and play in front of some people and have a good time, then yeah, I'll go for it. But if you think you're going to do it as a living, it's a lot of hard work and takes forever just to get to that point of, I don't have to work at 7-Eleven at night, I can just tour.
Yeah.
Yeah, my advice would be to say, set some realistic goals, know, and instead of saying, hey, I want to be Eddie Van Halen, maybe just go, I want to play in a band and just write some good songs.
Yeah.
You'll get a lot more satisfaction out of that and you won't get the heartbreak if something doesn't happen.
Yep.
Once you reach that goal, set yourself a new one, and just try to step up slowly like that.
Yeah.
And that's probably the best way to stay true to yourself too, instead of,
Right.
you could be chasing something that you don't even know how to obtain.
Yeah.
So you got to set little small intervals in order to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's I have to imagine that you guys are really, mainly doing music because you love it and you love what you're doing, and you get that satisfaction from it. And if you can make a living doing it, then so much the better.
If you're not chasing it for the love of doing it, then you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. My last question is sort of just this off the wall kind of fun question I like to ask. So what's your favorite breakfast food?
Pancakes.
Pancakes?
Breakfast food. Go ahead, because I'm gonna think about this for a second.
Bacon and eggs. It's got to be truck stop bacon and eggs.
Nice. Greasier the better?
Yeah.
All right.
Greasier better. Home fries. Just pile it all in one big pile.
Nice.
Oh my God, there's a lot. Cheese. I just like cheese.
Just a plate of cheese.
I'm good with that. There's
Be
something
good in
about
Switzerland,
grated cheese.
That's cheese in for breakfast.
In any kind of cheese except for that like goat cheese shit. I'm not into that at all.
From Monday cheese?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't tried that yet.
Just breakfast in general is badass.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
second only to Guntek.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time. Thanks for talking with me, man. I really appreciate it, guys.
No problem.
All right.
man.
Yeah. All right, we're signing off. See you, everybody.